Boyd, the goalkeeper. Was that you? Yes. Oh.
Ben Smith, yep, kick-started Aaron Moy's career. That's right.
Oh, look at this. Yeah. Well, I love Edgeworth.
Perfect. And if the headphones, I just turn it up like that. Yep.
Everyone's here. All the big wigs are out here this afternoon. So let's see what the match of the round is in this one. Broadmeadow v Adamstown.
Well, the halfway point of winter is upon us, and it means one thing. The final frontier before the finals and 6 huge weeks of critical importance. This afternoon, it's 2 sides with everything to play for who meet at Jack McLaughlin Oval. Edgeworth are on the verge of a record-breaking 4th straight premiership. The Eagles have never achieved 4 straight premiership wins. And while for their opponents, Hamilton Olympic, their finals hopes still flicker, and victory this afternoon is paramount. Defeat and their quest to make the top 4 becomes that little bit more difficult. And this weekend, across northern New South Wales football. We celebrate the involvement of women in football, a wonderful initiative. As we know, still plenty of work to be done over the coming years. The team news for Edgeworth and Hamilton Olympic. Huge news for Edgeworth. They've got a debutant, a man making his starting debut, Jose Atadi, in the middle of the park, so huge news for him. Daniel McBrain, he returns to the bench after missing last weekend's clash against Western. They won 4-1, Edgeworth. And for Hamilton Olympic, they beat Charlestown 2-0 midweek. Jen Horner, he's out of the side. He re-aggravated a hamstring injury, and Stu Michalik returns. He's up against Josh Rose and Daniel McBrain, two former teammates that he spent some time with at the Central Coast Mariners. Coaches for this afternoon, Damien Zane for Edgeworth in his 4th year at the Eagles, and as I mentioned before, eyeing off a 4th straight premiership. And for Pete McGuinness, he's turned the Olympic ship around after their worst start to the season in their history. Since then, he's taken them to within one game of the FFA Cup round of 32 and to within touching distance of the top 4. Weather this afternoon, 17 degrees at Edgeworth. The wind fairly light, about 15 kilometres from the northwest. And it will be Stephen Laurie to officiate this one this afternoon. Refereed the grand final last year. And it will be Edgeworth in their black with the red V from right to left of screen. Olympic in the blue. We are underway in round 17 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. Joining me in commentary this afternoon is Damien Smith. Smudge, just briefly, your thoughts on this one. Who is more desperate? Two sides who really both want to win this one.
Yeah, that's a tough answer, Bart. Hello, everybody. But I think both sides are going to be desperate. Obviously, Hamilton looking for a top 4 spot. And today for Edgeworth, I think the key is if they can get a result today, they're going to be really hard to stop for the premiership. They're 4th in a row. For me, Hamilton's got some key players out. Jed Hornery, Leo Bertos, Kyle Hodges, Simon Mooney, Jared Sullivan, all key players out. So I think it's going to be hard to stop Edgeworth today. Even though they've got Dylan Holtz and Josh Evans out, but I think the experience of Edgeworth might prevail in the end. But it's going to be tight all the way.
As we mentioned, a loss for Olympic. It doesn't end their finals hopes at all. Just makes it a little bit more difficult. They've got a big clash midweek against Valentine. They come into this match having won 3 of their last 4 Olympic. An upset loss last Saturday to the Jets U 3-2. That really was a shock. We spoke about that, Smudge. Maybe just a little complacent, Hamilton Olympic, in that one after a good run of form.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the key is you can't afford to drop points against teams lower than you on the table. And that's what they do well. They tend to beat the teams what they're expected to beat, where this year a lot of the teams are having draws or losing against teams they're expected to beat. So last week's loss to the Jets from Hamilton, I think Peter McGuinness will be reeling for that.
Cody Lucas now. Chipping it up the ground. Now Don Bazari chiming in. Big loss for Edgeworth as well this afternoon. Josh Rose, he's out of the side. It's Adam Corley threading it wide to
Josh Rose.
Josh Evans. One of the other Joshes, he whips that one in. Almost onto the head of Bailey Garland in the middle here. Josh Evans away for work.
Yeah, he's a big loss for Edgeworth, isn't he? He's their captain. He leads from the back. He's an excellent player. He's been one of the best defenders in the local NPL for the last 4 or 5 years.
And they lose Mitch Dobson after this afternoon's match as well, Edgeworth.
He's been tremendous too, hasn't he? He was my man of the match against Magic a few weeks ago. He really kept players like Carl Bradbury and James Vigili very quiet.
And Damien Zane said during the week that he's their best defender. Just incredible. When you've got the likes of Pat Wheeler there, Don Bazari, Josh Evans. Here's Jacob Bailey. Also, Edgeworth fans will remember him. He scored the winner in the FFA Cup round 6 match against the Eagles. Heartbreaking goal, really. They fought so hard up to that point. That was the last meeting between these two sides. Daniel McBrain and Will Bow both injured in that one. And Edgeworth probably unlucky not to send that one into extra time. 3-2 the defeat in the end. So they missed the round of 32 for the first time under Damien Zane's watch. Here's Sam Maxwell with the outside of his boot trying to find Adam Corley, who is in white-hot form at the moment. 4 goals in his last 4 matches. It's been very impressive. Those deep runs, Smudge.
Yeah, he does it perfectly. Starts from deep and goes in behind the back 4. We've seen him do it quite a few times against Magic over the years, and he just nearly got away with one then. Very interesting choice for Damien Zane starting Jose Atati today, Bart.
Yeah, I've got some info on him. He's planning on heading over to Spain in a couple of years' time. But this is first grade start. Came off the bench last week. Bailey Garland off back, and Ryan Smith gets the touch back to Michalek. Now Scott Pettit. Speaking of a man in goal-scoring touch, he's another one. 6 goals in his last 7. Scott Pettit.
He's had a very good year, Scott Pettit, playing in that wide sort of left-hand role.
Here's Pat Wheeler just holding off Reece Cooper. With the captain's armband this afternoon, Pat Wheeler. Just a miscommunication with Adam Corley.
Interesting, Reece Cooper is playing in the number 9 role up the top for Hamilton. Obviously, they're 2 main strikers. In Simon Mooney, he's out for the season. Jed Honor is still injured with a hamstring complaint.
Here's Will Bauer. He's looking for the run of Tyson Jackson. So I mentioned their last meeting, these two sides. 3-2 it went the way of Hamilton Olympic. They also met in round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales, a match which Hamilton were ahead for most of, and then Daniel McBreen scored 2 late goals to win the 3 points for Edgeworth. That was at Darling Street Oval.
Yeah, that was one of the matches of the season so far, and you could see Edgeworth just creeping in, and if there was going to be a winner, it was going to be Edgeworth, especially when McBreen came on.
2 of the best attacking sides in the competition. Edgeworth with 30 goals this year, Olympic with 28. So you expect another high-scoring match. Let's hope we get another high-scoring contest.
For some reason, I can't see that today, Bart. I think it's going to be a very cagey affair. Neither side will want to lose. And as you can see at the moment, they're not really taking too many risks at the moment, but obviously the game's going to open up as time goes on.
Here's Scott Pettit taking on Sam Maxwell, who's coming to right back.
I think the key for Hamilton is Edgeworth love possession. They love getting numbers forward. So if Hamilton can be patient and transition quick, when they win the ball, they could be very dangerous on the counter-attack against Edgeworth, especially with the pace of Reece Cooper, Ryan Smith on the right-hand side and Scott Pettit on the left-hand side.
Josh Rose just against the sideline. Now Reece Pappas. And Michalek just coming back from a knee injury in the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's great to see him back on the park, isn't it, Bart?
Yeah, played for Adamstown last year in the NPL Northern New South Wales under Pete McGuinness there. Made the move with his coach to Olympic. And they have got a relatively young side, Hamilton, so good to have an experienced head there in the middle of the park. As that ball in from Ryan Smith almost deceived Josh Lowe. Speaking of Josh Lowe, he's been really impressive for Edgeworth this year. 3 clean sheets already.
And talking to Damien Zane, he thinks Josh Lowe will surpass Nate Cavalieri as a goalkeeper. He really rates Josh Lowe.
There is some praise.
Yeah, he rates Josh Lowe very high. Obviously, he rated Nate Cavalieri very high as well. And he was superb for Edgeworth Eagles. And obviously doing very well in the Victorian Premier League at the moment.
Yes, Pappas sees the run of Scott Pettit, who is full of confidence at the moment and just dinks it in. Pat Wheeler's clearance is a good one because there's no blue shirts around Sam Maxwell, who tries to use the ball down the right. Bazari swings one across to this side of the ground. May have just struck the wind. It is coming from the northwest, so just slightly with Olympic in this first half, so I think that ball just got knocked back towards their own end of the ground. Made it harder for Will Bauer. Rose. So Josh Rose, Daniel McBrain, who is on the bench this afternoon, and Stu Michalek all played together at the Mariners back in the 2011-12 season. Michalek didn't play that year for the Mariners, didn't get any A-League game time, but they were all in the squad together.
Another great ball by Pappas.
McGuinness with the touch on towards Pettit. Now it's 80 with one of his first touches of the match, the number 6 for Edgeworth. Be interesting to see how he performs this afternoon.
Good intercept.
Wins the ball from Bailey, who's quite big a figure. Here's Will Bauer. Well defended by Reece Pappas as he held off the Eagles front man.
Yeah, that was well defended. He just cut his body straight across Will Bauer and, yeah, well defended. I really like this Reece Pappas playing in the back line more so as a number 6 in the midfield. He plays really well with the ball, with the field right in front of him.
He, of course, scored against Edgeworth in the FFA Cup, the opener, and that was set up by Scott Pettit, who set up all 3 goals that afternoon, Scott Pettit. Ball ricochets off Cooper, and now Rose to Dobson. Plows that pass straight through the middle to Bazari. Was well picked out. Now Bauer has some open pastures ahead of him down the left, but he opts for the central ball to Bazari.
Nice and compact here, Olympic. Good defensive shape. Only 25 yards between their number 9 and their fullbacks. Very tight for Edgeworth.
There's Dobson forward to Bailey Garland. What a run of form he's had, Bailey Garland up front. He might be looking to get on the end of this one here. Maxwell cuts inside, plays the ball back. And Tatey, what a way to mark your starting debut. That would have been to knock one in the top corner. Couldn't quite keep his shot down.
It was a great opportunity. I think his first touch sort of just got stuck under his foot. If he just had it like about a yard in front, then he would have had an easier crack on goal. But good pressure by Olympic to put him off and make him skew it over the bar. So, yeah, good opportunity by Tatey.
I think credit goes to Sam Maxwell there.
Yeah,
had the vision to play it back to the youngster.
And just be patient around the box. The key is being patient around the box. Try and look for the openings. Look for the space. Great cutout by Michalek.
Yeah, Tatey, Jose Tatey, both parents are Spanish, so really has that European connection. As I was saying before, chatting to Gary Borradaile, who's just next to me, says he's planning to go over and trial for a 3rd division club in Barcelona in 2020. So a couple of years away.
All the best, yeah.
Maxwell now. Hasn't had his most consistent year, Sam Maxwell, but good to see him back in the side because he burst onto the scene in 2016. Then last year had a lot of uni commitments and struggled to get much game time in the first team, but Damien Zane rates him highly. Here's Cody Lucas.
Yeah, he's been in and out with injuries as well this year as well, so it's hard to get like a bit of fluency about your game week in, week out when you've been in and out. He's been good this year, hasn't he, Tyson Jackson?
Very good run. He was just shielded from the ball by Tom Stewart there. He's come in at centre-back for Hamilton Olympic, Kyle Hodges. A big loss for them. Big shoes to fill for Tom Stewart, the youngster from the under-20s. Been very consistent. He's been with Hamilton throughout the NPL competition. Jackson cuts it back. There was Tom Stewart with the intervention, and Don Bazari, he struck the corner flag with that scuffed strike. Was it a strike on goal?
I think he was aiming for a strike on goal, but obviously he just didn't connect with it. But yeah,
he's actually had a good year in front of goal. He scored against Hamilton in round 6. Scored a few goals this year, Don Bazari. He even managed one last week from the penalty spot in their 4-1 defeat of Western.
He's such a versatile player, Bizarre. He can play in the centre of the back line, the centre of the midfield, play left fullback. He done a great job on James Virgili a few weeks ago versus Magic.
Well, they're the first side this year, Edgeworth, to really put the cleaners through Western at Rockwell Automation Park. Western have been really good at home, tight losses or victories at Bear Park this year for them, and Edgeworth knocked up 4.
Yeah, I think the key's there. Obviously, Edgeworth out of the running of the top 4. If you score an early goal, you know, as Western got, you know, they probably haven't got as much to play for as Edgeworth. They scored 2 quick goals last week, and they're away.
4-0 before half-time. And the week before against the Jets, they started very quickly as well, Edgeworth. 9 goals in their last 2 matches, so they're on song. And Hamilton, they have not been kept scoreless all season. And if there's one side that you would back to keep them scoreless, it's Edgeworth.
And we'll say at the start of the season, with all the players they lost, that was something like 26 goals, or 63% of their goals for players have moved on from last season, gone to the Victorian NPL, gone overseas, etc. We wonder where they're going to get the goals from, but they've found a way, haven't they?
They most certainly have. Here's Tom Davies, crunched into Will Bauer, and now Ryan Smith. You remember him from the Newcastle Jets youth.
Well played.
Now Reece Cooper. Spent some time at the Jets youth in it. In his past as Reece Cooper, as Jacob Bailey's pass hit a Tatey and then deflected to Will Bauer, and Tom Davies clean up at the back for Olympic. Olympic on Wednesday night against Charlestown. They kept just their 2nd clean sheet of the year in that 2-0 win. Impressive up against the likes of Goodchild and Smith. Here's Bailey Garland trying to open the scoring for Edgeworth. He scored 2 in his last 2, and he wasn't far away from making it 3-3. He is going to be some player, Smudge. Look at the strike on that from Bailey Garland.
Yeah, but what he did was, you got your back foot of Olympic. He peels about 10 yards deep, and the fullbacks don't run with him. He knows how to play that striker role perfectly, just peeling off the back 4, giving himself some space.
Here's Sharlek.
Bailey Garland's a player who probably prefers the balls into his feet rather than running off, because he's got nice touches, a great turn, and he can strike on goal. Scored a few goals this year.
Yeah, 2 in the NPL. Scored that goal against Olympic in the FFA Cup to equalise it at 2-2, and since then he's been given much more advanced role in this NPL side.
And that's what Zane does. He just bloods them. He's got Jamie Burns and McBreen on the bench. He could have easily brought one of those guys in, but he likes to blood the young guys, give them a good opportunity.
Tyson Jackson now rolls one up the line. Maxwell off a Tatey. A bit of a flick on towards Adam Corley. Half attempted Scorpion. Not the full Scorpion. Not quite Riley McCree level.
This is where Olympic could really attack Edgeworth in the quick transition. But Edgeworth's done very well there. They've got their numbers back.
McGuinness sends Cooper on a difficult chase towards the corner. Pat Wheeler will win that little battle.
Yeah, with McGuinness having 5 players out today and 2 leading strikers in Simon Mooney and Jed Hornery. Yeah, and they've moved Reece Cooper into the number 9. He's probably better positioned. He's the number 10 playing him beyond, so he's facing forward. But he's probably had no choice today to play Reece at the point of the attack.
He was really impressed, Pete McGuinness, with that win over Charlestown midweek. He was happy with the scrap and the fight of his side. He said, it's not often this year that we have one match as ugly, and that's what they did on Wednesday night. And that's what Charlestown, they've been a very gritty side this year, Charlestown. They pushed the envelope, and Hamilton felt the full force of that on Wednesday night. Jed Hornery out with a hamstring injury, not injured from the stamp from Salini laid on. Here's Davies.
He's had issues with that hamstring injury all year, hasn't he, Jed Hornery? Started off on fire at the start of the year, then I don't know if he's coming back too early. I think he might have to get it right before the semis, hopefully if they make it.
And he's only a youngster, under 20 years of age, and it's not good to have hamstring injuries at that point in your career. So we wish him all the best with his recovery. And here's Scott Pettit. He can really put it on a dime. Up they rise. Tom Stewart scored 5 goals last year in the under-20s competition, just the one this year, and a lot of them like that. He's very tall, very good from those set pieces.
Great ball in by Scott Pettit, but for me, Josh Lowe should be coming and punching that ball. That was just on the 6-yard box, and he should be coming and punching that ball or getting that. He might not have seen it because of the sun. Yeah, that was. It sort of just stuck. It wasn't swinging or anything, so he needs to come for those balls. You don't want someone like a Tom Stewart or a Jacob Bailey having free header. That's what happened in the FFA Cup in the 6-yard box.
Olympic have had the upper hand recently in their head-to-heads between these two. They've won 2. Edgeworth have only won 2 of the last 7. Here's Josh Rose trying to give them the opening goal. Just overhits that one, and Cody Lucas is there to clear the danger momentarily for Olympic. Bizarre, look at the space out here to the left. Will Bauer does decide to use Josh Rose. Plays it back across the face. And Bailey Garland tried to place it. He'll get another chance here.
Great turn.
And Reece Pappas has to scramble it away. A couple of great opportunities for Bailey Garland.
I thought Josh, on the first attempt, I thought Josh Rose probably could have had a shot. He wasn't far away. He's only 6 yards out. But he did cross it for Bailey Garland, and he was very unlucky. But on the second attempt, Bailey Garland, his turn was superb. Quick turn, shot on goal, but it was blocked. As you can see now, started off very even, but Edgeworth starting to grind their way in, like on top of Hamilton. They're just lifting up the tempo a little bit here, Edgeworth.
Yeah, starting to create a few opportunities, and you'd say up to this point, they've probably created the better of them. Olympic struggling when it comes to the front third at the moment. Here's Pappas under pressure from Garland.
And talking to McGuinness before the match, there's a few players out here. Obviously, they've got a few injuries at the moment, but there's a few players who are playing today who aren't match fit at the moment. So, like he said to me, he said there's a few players he's just going to see how they go, and when they get tired, he's going to have to substitute them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing potentially Bailey Blumwell coming off the bench to make his first grade debut. Scored a hat-trick in the 18s decider last year, so chance that he might get a bit of game time this afternoon.
Just quickly, that was a great tackle by Cody Lucas on Tyson Jackson on the right-hand side.
Here's Cody Lucas. Now to McGuinness. Just got away from Bazari, skipped over the top of him. Now Ryan Smith, he was very tight in there, Ryan Smith. Obviously, you like your width, Smudge. Would have you liked Ryan Smith to be playing a little wider then? He really compacted the space and had nowhere to go in the end.
Agree, but I don't mind when they tuck it in around the 18-yard box as well, because you could play a nice 1-2 with Reece Cooper there, and Reece could have a shot on goal, but the 1-2, he's done a flick and sort of went nowhere. So you have to make those balls stick, so Cooper could have a chance to have a shot on goal. But even so, that's when you get your right fullback coming around the outside. Your wide... Oh, that looked like a handball for me.
It did, as Wheeler brought that one down. Dobson, of course, off to Monroe College in the US after this match. He actually contacted Edgeworth after he finished up with the Jets youth last year. Contacted Edgeworth, asked Damien Zane whether he could come and play with the Eagles.
Why not? They've won the last, 3 years in a row, so they're obviously an outstanding club. They're one of the big few clubs in the Northern. So
the last side to win 4 straight premierships was Highfields Azzurri, 92-95. That's what Edgeworth are aiming for this year.
And was it Adamstown has won 5 in a row?
Adamstown, it was a fascinating period. So 87-91, Adamstown won 5 straight, and then Highfields won 4 straight. Now that was the season. So after 91, Adamstown went and played in the Sydney competition. So theoretically, Adamstown could have won a few more.
Yeah, that's right.
You could argue. Here's Bizarri. Trying to send Bailey Garland on his way. Out of the shadows of the grandstand. Just seemed to skew that one off the side of his left boot.
Yeah, he tended to rush the cross, didn't he? Probably he could have taken his time a little bit more on the cross and tried to pinpoint either Adam Corley, Will Bauer, or even Tyson Jackson in the back stick.
On his non-preferred foot. Yeah, Edgeworth have been in good form of late. Started the season against Lambton with defeat, but since then, they're undefeated in 12 of 13 matches. The only loss since that round one loss to Lambton Jaffers was against Adamstown Rosebud here. That was an absolute shock. That was probably one of the upsets of the season. Luke Valone scored. And we will bring you the scores from the other grounds. Adamstown up against Broadmeadow Magic this afternoon. Maitland up against the Jets, and Western and Charlestown at Western, and all matches are at 0-0 at the moment. So a very tight start to the afternoon. Tyson Jackson on the left boot. That won't trouble Jacob Bailey.
I think there's a lot at stake with results this weekend, Bart.
Well, 6 rounds to play, 5 after this weekend.
Some teams have only got 4 games to play after this weekend.
We've got some huge matches coming up in the next few weeks. That one will trickle over the sideline. Next week, we're off to Darling Street, Smudge. Hamilton against Maitland, then Edgeworth against Maitland the week after that.
Wow.
So 2 really important matches, and then Hamilton against Lambton Jaffers. So the next 3 weeks are going to be mouth-watering contests. Here's Bailey Garland. They're backing off him. Bailey Garland took on the strike, and again, it's not far off.
And again, Bailey Garland, he just peels off his back for the 2 strike. He drops about 10 yards deep. He's able to turn. I think Pete McGuinness needs to get one of his stoppers, because he's only playing one up front in Bailey Garland. Edgeworth are. One of the stoppers just needs to follow him into that space, because then the other person can obviously sweep around. Because that's where he's dangerous. Dropping off 10 yards, getting the ball turning.
Michalek just lumps that one down towards McGuinness. Mitch Dobson cleaned up well.
Yeah, sometimes, or the other option is you play your 2 number 6s a little bit deeper, just sitting in front of it and screening that area for Bailey Garland to come into, so the ball can't be delivered into him. So he's got 2 options there. A lot of times you don't like one of your stoppers coming out of your line, because that creates space in beyond, like for an Adam Corley to run through. But depending on where it is on the pitch and if there is runners coming, sometimes your stopper can actually track him into like forward 10 yards to put pressure on him so he doesn't turn.
And there's Pappas.
But for me, I'd probably like Michalek and Jacob Bailey, probably just playing about 10 yards in front of the back 4, 15 yards, blocking, screening that pass into Bailey Garland.
McGuinness pumps down Bizarri. Smudge, just at the moment, Hamilton just seems to be spluttering a little bit.
Yeah, they started off well, but now they sort of just dropped back a little bit. They're playing a little bit deeper. There's more space in midfield. But I think Edgeworth also picked up the tempo as well.
Rose across to Dobson.
So you're looking at about, 30 yards between their front and their back line at the moment. There's only 20 to 25 before, so it's starting to open up a little bit, especially in midfield. And this is where Bailey Garland can come in and receive the ball. Great.
That is a great ball from Josh Rose. Just bent it up the line, and now Adam Corley does the rest. Plays it back to Will Bauer. Great passage of play from the Eagles, and then Reece Pappas on the quick turn.
The other thing you have to think about, Bart, Hamilton played on Wednesday night, a tough, dogged affair against Charlestown, so they're going to be a little bit sore as well.
And then they've got Valentine on Wednesday. It doesn't get any easier for them.
And then they've got a tough run home, so...
They are very lucky that they are not playing in the FFA Cup as well, because, gee, it'd make things a whole lot more difficult.
To be honest,
I know they'd love to.
Yeah, they'll prefer to.
But you just feel like it would be a huge mountain to climb, the amount of matches to play. They've still got 7. They've got 6 after this one, 7 including this one to play.
And they've got some tough matches. Next week against Maitland is crucial for both sides. Bailey Garland, see peeling off his back four again.
Corley.
Does it great.
And now Bowery's on the outside of Tom Davies. He does have good pace, Davies, and
Great
body
challenge.
to body on the ball, Tom Davies, and they'll have to settle for a corner.
Great challenge from Tom Davies.
He's made his first grade debut when he was 16 years old. He's played over 80 matches now at 21 years of age, Tom Davies. He's a veteran.
And he missed half a season last year.
He was over in Europe travelling. Well, Reece Pappas, it's gone up, and Tyler Warren is able to just tap it onto the roof of the net. Just got a little bit sketchy there for Hamilton Olympic.
Yeah, they're probably not the best side in the comp on set pieces, defending their set pieces. I've seen a few goals.
And that's not one of Tyson Jackson's best corners, and Stu Michalek is just in trying to control it, has shanked it over the line. Now they've taken it quickly. Olympic just asleep at the wheel there for a moment. Pat Wheeler, who hasn't scored since 2009, he won't end it there.
He scored more than his old man, so that's always good.
Here's Tyson Jackson.
I'd like to know how many goals have been scored on set pieces against Hamilton this year. I've seen a few. I don't think they've got the best defensive record on set pieces, but
We'll have to get the... Well, if we had Opta Stats running the stats for the NPL Northern New South Wales, that'd be wonderful. They'd get all that information for us. They're wonderful with that, with the A-League and with plenty of leagues around the world, the EPL as well. Here's Sam Maxwell. Not quite the power he would have liked, but Tatey's able to control it. Now he's in a duel with Bailey.
they're just holding on here, Olympic, aren't they? Oh,
And here's a great opportunity, a 2-on-1. If Pettit can get there first, he couldn't. That was important from Pat Wheeler to get there first. Otherwise, it was a foot race between Reece Cooper and Josh Rose, and I know who I would have my money on. That's Reece Cooper, because he is like lightning in open space.
and that's what we said at the start of the game. I think the key for Hamilton, if they can transition from defence to attack really quickly and get get Edgeworth a little bit their numbers, minimal numbers at the back, like just then, they could be very dangerous.
Here's a mazy run from McGuinness, and deservedly wins the free kick. Did well to keep his feet. Just over the half-hour mark here at Jack McLaughlin Oval. Round 17 of the NPL Northern New South Wales Women in Football round this week. And still 0-0. McGuinness. Just these 1%ers for Hamilton Olympic. Again, letting them down, letting themselves down.
Yeah, I think if McGuinness had his time again, he'd probably head that straight back across the goal. That's where all the players were, and that would have been very dangerous. He sort of, I can't say he lost it in the sun because the sun's coming from the other side, Bart, but yeah, I think he just tried to control it, but he should have probably knocked it straight back across goal because he had some tall timbers in the 6-yard box. Just quietly, the barbecue's smelling very nice down there, Bart.
You might duck down there at half-time, Smudge. I know CT definitely would. He'd be filling his face probably by now, I would say. Scott Pettit. He's got Sam Maxwell keeping a close eye on him. Scored in his last game here from a superb free kick. And Josh Lowe with a great save. It falls for Ryan Smith on the swivel. Was well blocked by Rose. And now Michalek. Couldn't keep the shot down or on target on that left boot.
Well played by Scotty Pettit. Sam Maxwell got called ball watching there. Need to be very careful. But well played by Olympic. Probably their best chance so far.
Do you remember that goal Scott Pettit scored here last year for Broadmeadow Magic in the semi-final, the second leg, just outside the box?
Free kick.
It was a peach on a dime, and it put Magic 1-0 up. And in the end, that goal sent it through to extra time, and Edgeworth got through on penalties. That was one of the greatest matches I think we've seen over the last few years in terms of drama. Jackson. Dinks it towards the back post. I feel like this year's semi-final series is going to be no different. The quality of the sides that are going to be in that top 4. They don't seem to let us down. Here's a Tatey. He's ambitious from outside the box. It may fall for him again. Blocks the clearance of Tom Stewart. Now Pettit. Jake McGuinness, another good run from him, but his first touch lets him down for the second time in a few minutes.
And see what Edgeworth do. They're very good with possession-based football build up. And then they start to get numbers forward, which keeps them a little bit lean at the back. So if Olympic can break nice and quick, they could cause some damage.
There may be an issue here. Steve Laurie calling on the Hamilton medical stuff. I just glanced away for a minute, Smudge, so
I missed it as well. Sorry.
I might have to have a quick glance back on YouTube, but it doesn't look good. We'll have a little bit of a stoppage in play for a few minutes. Reece Pappas is the man with the issue. We're just having a quick glance at the vision now. Oh, he's landed very awkwardly. Yeah, that does not look good for Reece Pappas. Maybe a knee issue, Smudge, an ankle.
He hyperextended when he landed from the ball over the top when he sort of cleared it. He sort of hyperextended, so he might have gone down precautionary. We'll just see what happens here. It was quite awkward when he went down.
Well, if we look at Hamilton Olympics bench here, they've got Blake Green, Kane Treble, Bailey Blummel, and Joe Templey. 2 of those could play at the back, but normally in wider roles. Joe Templey a defender, so he could slot into that centre-back role, but he's not as experienced as Blake Green, who can slot in out wide. You would expect Blake Green to come in on the left and Cody Lucas to push into the centre. That would be my thinking here if Reece Pappas is forced off, which you would expect he will be. Because once you hyperextend the knee, you go to run again, it'll
depends if you strain ligaments. You can hyperextend the knee but not strain ligaments, but you can also hyperextend the knee and do the ACL. So for me, it looks like he's probably jarred. It was like really awkward, but he probably just slightly hyperextended, not like a full-on snap, which obviously...
Yeah, I can tell you
if he heard a pop.
Yeah, so that is exactly what's happened. So Blake Green on the left and Cody Lucas into the middle. I was playing touch footy once, Smudge. I did this big step stupidly and hyperextended. I only strained it, so it was only a few weeks.
Yeah,
just not. But once it's gone past the vertical position it should be at, still a lot of pain there. So hopefully it's not a bad one for Reece Pappas, because that's the last thing they need. Hamilton.
Well, they've got 5 players out at the moment. He makes it 6.
And they've got a tough run home as well.
And a busy schedule.
Here's Dobson. Out Wheeler. Under a little bit of pressure here, these two at the back. Being pushed back towards their goal line. Cooper just slipped, and Josh Lowe says, let's get out of here.
It's very important that Blake Green gets on the ball nice and quick, gets some touches.
Hit it with the attempted flick on. So they've got Cody Lucas and Tom Stewart as the 2 centre-backs. 2 men who would not have played together in first grade in those roles. It's been Kyle Hodges and Reece Pappas for a big part of the season. Tom Davies has also spent some time back there, so this is an opportunity for Edgeworth to really exploit that inexperienced centre-back pairing. I'm not saying Cody Lucas, he's a very experienced NPL player, but normally plays at left and right back.
He's had a great year, actually, Cody Lucas, playing at left full-back. That's probably not his natural position either. Not probably a right full-back's more his natural position. But he can play central as well. He's a tough, rugged defender. And
Cody Lucas tracking back there.
But I think what Olympic will miss will be Reece Pappas' distribution. His distribution, especially the long balls, diagonals, are brilliant, and that's what they'll probably miss for the rest of the game.
So we tick towards half-time. The women in football round 17 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. If you also want to catch this afternoon the Women's State Cup, so effectively the old State Cup for the men, have brought it in for the women's competition. That's on this afternoon on Bar TV Sports, so you can check that one out. I think that's live from about 4 o'clock. I'll double check that one at half-time. Ryan Smith now. He's actually scored in the NPL, Ryan Smith, as he's brought to ground. Scored last year for the Jets youth in a 6-1 defeat they copped at the hands of Maitland.
So this is where the likes of Stewie Mashalik, they've got a young, little bit of an inexperienced backline. Stewie Mashalik, Jacob Bailey, the two seasoned campaigners, just sitting in front of the back four. They're the key, I think, as the game goes on.
Just to steady the ship.
Steady the ship.
That's a nice touch from Garland.
Yeah, that's well played by Edgeworth.
That's Haiti. And then on to Corley, who was trying to cut it back against the grain to Garland.
Yeah, I thought the ball for Will Bauer was on there. He was making a run straight through the centre of the park, and he was free on goal.
And Jose Atati in the middle of the park in the number 6, he's almost just gone about his work with very minimum of fuss and been impressive so far. He's done a lot of hard work. Very much like Lockie Pasquale.
Yep. He started off a little bit shaky with a few touches, sort of a bit skewy touches, but yeah, he's done well. And like you said, just going about his own business, getting a touch on the ball, playing it nice and simple, not too many turnovers, always moving, making a run here.
It's bizarre. He does make the run behind Atati, but it just stuck in the grass. Here's Dobson, looking to move it forward. Huge interception there from Blake Green, and he could turn defence into attack very swiftly here. McGuinness, nice touch onto Green. He had too much pace for Maxwell. Dobson was able to get away with that as his first touch went behind him, and almost, if there was an Olympic player rushing through, there were issues for Edgeworth, but there was no blue shirt in Kuwe there.
And again, that's what I mean. If they do a quick transition, they can really catch Edgeworth with limited numbers at the back.
So still 0-0 in every match this afternoon. That's Broadmeadow Magic and Adamstown, Maitland and the Jets, and Western and Charlestown, and also here. No goals to tell you about. Jake McGuinness now into Ryan Smith. He had the run of Reece Cooper, and again it breaks down for Olympic. They've been clunky, and that's probably being nice.
Yeah, Ryan Smith, he needs to be better there because they're all going forward, and they're a great opportunity. Great ball over the top for Will Bauer.
Well, he is a great chance, but he is just offside.
And again, Ryan Smith, he's trying to do the flick. I think in situations like that, you need to make the pass stick. That's twice now.
He's had a couple of moments down that right edge, Ryan Smith, and he hasn't been able to create an opportunity for Hamilton Olympic when there was one brewing.
And I like to probably see him just a little bit deeper as well. Sometimes he comes in and clogs that centre of the park, which is good when you can get a few 1-2s with the strikers. He's Pettit.
So Reece Cooper waiting in the middle. Pettit curls it in. Josh Rose with the header away. Yami Charlick. Pettit. And that'll fall for Josh Lowe. Well, Scott Pettit thought it was out for a corner. So did I. I thought it was well on its way over the line, but Josh Lowe was able to track it down inside the byline. Now Davies. Charlotte just chips it up to Bailey Garland. Garland takes on the midfield veteran who was wily enough to push him towards the sideline. Couple of minutes left before stoppage time in this opening half.
Yeah, there'll be a few minutes stoppage time, I'd say, for the injury to Pappas.
First versus 7th in the NPL, Northern New South Wales this afternoon. Edgeworth unbeaten in 12 of their last 13 and 6 straight in the NPL. And Olympic, who have won 3 of their last 4. So 2 sides in good form. Olympic's position on the table, probably not a fair reflection of their recent form, but it's just consistency across the season which has let them down. They've had a few good results and then slipped up, and had a few good results and then fallen down again. So it's what they can't afford to do this afternoon. Here's Blake Green. Keep it inside the line. Another unforced error there, Smudge, from Hamilton Olympic with possession.
In a good position, high and wide on that left-hand side. Some good width there. Actually, I felt like the last 3 or 4 minutes, Hamilton's really starting to put a bit more pressure on Edgeworth. Edgeworth probably had a good, 15, 20-minute period, sort of put pressure on Hamilton, but Hamilton sort of come back into the game now, sort of had a few sort of half opportunities. And again, Ryan, he needs to control the ball and play. He's done about 2 or 3 flicks at the moment, which haven't paid off. That's a great ball.
Bauer on to Jackson, and Tyler Warren. It was a little bit scruffy, but
great ball, wasn't it? Well weighted.
They get it away. And Jacob Bailey. I think he made a bit more of that than what was evident. Jacob Bailey. Tatey's only a small man. I don't think he could have brought him sprawling to the ground like that. We've got half-time at Maitland. It's 0-0 there. Here's Scott Pettit. Can he get the ball back? He may. Here's a great chance for Scott Pettit. Gee, he fired that one like it was out of a cannon. That flew, was travelling towards Josh Lowe. It was straight at him, though. Good save.
He was tenacious, wasn't he? Great little run by Scott Pettit. Got through.
And probably poor at the back from Edgeworth.
Yeah, they sort of got mixed up a little bit, so
they just weren't desperate enough. And Scott Pettit had desperation. He always does in spades. And now Olympic, just a couple of chances here before half-time. Will Bow, what's he doing there? He trying to score in his own net, but the free kick was already blown the way of Olympic.
And that's probably been the best opportunity of the game for me. Scott Pettit there, inside the 6-yard box. Great little run. Ball popped up to him, and a great save by Josh Lowe.
He'll just be disappointed he couldn't strike at a metre either side.
Or a little bit lower. I was right at the perfect height for the keeper.
So Scott Pettit. And then Ryan Smith tried to flick it on again. Here's Charlick. A Tatey. Does have some space. And he played the ball straight to Cody Lucas. He had some time as well, probably more time than he thought, the youngster. Just a bit of a rush of blood. Now Blake Green, he almost ran into a bit of a corner there. Made the right decision though. Former Lake Macquarie midfielder Blake Green scored 5 goals for them last year, but yet to score for Olympic this year, playing in a deeper role. Maxwell. And the first half is brought to a close by referee Stephen Laurie. And both sides go into the sheds after an even first half. Both with some chances. Neither could break the deadlock. And halftime here at Jack McLaughlin Oval. It is Edgeworth FC 0, Hamilton Olympic 0. And at the other grounds, Broadmeadow Magic have scored just before half-time against Adamstown to lead that one 1-0. At Maitland, it's 0-0 between the Magpies and the Jets, and Western and Charlestown at 0-0 as well. Smudge, just your thoughts on the first half here. It was tight, it was tense.
It was cagey, wasn't it? Neither side obviously want to lose. They want to obviously pick up at least a point. I think Edgeworth started the best of the two. I thought they had a good period of about 20, 25 minutes there. But I thought the last 15 minutes, Hamilton really sort of started to put pressure on Edgeworth. They transitioned a lot better, a lot quicker. Scotty Pettit on that left-hand side was doing really well. He's probably had the best opportunity in the match. Bailey Garland had a few opportunities, but no 2 clear-cut opportunities, except for Scott Pettit in that last final minute. And probably could have went 1-0 up at half-time. But overall, I think it's a fairly even game.
And I'd say it would be it would have been unfair for Edgeworth to go in down 1-0.
Agree, yeah.
They created some great chances earlier on, and then Olympic came back in the second part of that first half.
Yeah, I think with Edgeworth, they're getting in the front third and great opportunities, but just that final ball, that decision making, and same with Olympic as well. But yeah, if they could just fix that up at half time, and I don't know, it's going to be a very interesting second half.
Well, you predicted it, Smudge. You said it was going to be tight.
Yep.
Not many goals. That's what we've got here at Edgeworth at halftime. 0-0 between the Eagles and Hamilton Olympic. We'll be back in 10 with the second 45 minutes.
Oh, sorry. I actually like that name better. Lofty, yeah, sounds like it, yeah. Yeah, Burn. Jamie Burn. I thought he was named on the sheet, but then I was walking down there.
Oh, no, got him in the 20s. Yeah. So Dylan Holt's back next week.
With his head.
No, his ankle. Like I said, it was your head. He goes, no.
Oh, there's Mark Wilson.
Yeah, this woman. After he come up for a chat. He said he's diabetes. Diabetes.
Oh, yeah, I keep seeing all his faces.
Oh, yeah. I'll pick up and check it on us, Dave. Obviously,
Bring him up.
CT can handle about it, so.
Yeah. Maybe we should say we've just got a text message in that says, gee, the call's a lot more professional than that.
Do that. He's got a call, isn't it?
CT like Broad Man Magic FC.
What?
On Facebook.
I did.
Yeah.
When do you reckon McBreen will come on?
You want to say, is he down there?
Is McBreen helping you out at FFA Cup? Is McBreen helping you out in the FFA Cup?
Yeah. I don't think he can hear you. That
Are
loud.
you serious? McBreen is helping you out in the FFA Cup?
Not that loud. Give us a hey. Go to the toilet.
That's all I'll hold.
Just go off the side. McBrain, I love you. What's going on? It's taking forever. We've still got what? 6 players. Headset's back on.
Are these working or not? No.
They're working at times. Yeah.
I'll start with them then.
Welcome back to Jack McLaughlin Oval. The second half just about to get underway. Hamilton Olympic to kick us off in their blue, running from right to left of screen in this second half. A very tight, a very cagey first half, which Edgeworth started better, and Olympic came home stronger. What's going to be the difference in this second half, Smudge?
I think it's going to be similar to the first half, to be honest. I think it'll be cagey nice and early on, and as the game progresses, I think the game's going to open up. I think Hamilton might find the back end of the game a few players are probably starting to get a little bit tired. A few guys aren't match fit at the moment, and plus they played midweek. So I think it'll open up towards the back end of the half. They've got the likes of McBreen, Aaron McLaughlin, Pettisano to come on. And I think Edgeworth might prevail in the end, but it's going to be very tight.
Well, here is Bailey Garland. He's been put in on goal again. He's had some chances in this match. He'll be disappointed that he hasn't found the target on that occasion.
But also looking at Olympic, I think obviously the loss to Pappas is a very big loss. For more reports, hopefully his knee's not too bad, talking to the coaching staff at half-time. So hopefully it's, he hasn't done an AC or a PCL or something dangerous like that. But, I think for Olympic they have to stay very structured in defence, very compact in defence, and they will get opportunities. And the other thing is get Scott Pettit in the game on the left-hand side. He was very dangerous in that first half, had a great opportunity to make it 1-0. So, it's going to be very interesting.
Well, Edgeworth have scored first in 10 of their 14 matches so far this season. And when they have scored first, they haven't lost. I should say they've lost once when they've scored first. That was round 1. Apart from that, it's been victory or sharing of the points for the Eagles when they score first. So it's not a good omen for Olympic. And that's why you see the sides at the top of the ladder. Invariably, they score first a lot of the time. Broadmeadow Magic have got a similar stat. And for Hamilton, they've only scored first in 7 of their 13 matches. It is difficult to win matches from behind consistently.
Yeah, against obviously the top 4, because mainly their defence is rock solid. And it's not just their defence, it's their defensive shape.
Now Bauer-Tatey making the run.
You find a lot of the top 4 sides, or the top 2 sides especially, they defend very well from the front. Like you see here with Edgeworth. They defend very well from the front. They're hard to break down. It's hard to play through.
So Edgeworth, first on the table, 30 points. And aiming for a 4th straight premiership. First side to do that since Highfields Missouri in 95. And Hamilton really need to win this afternoon to ensure that they keep in touching distance of that top 4. It's at 22 points at the moment, but that could increase depending on how Maitland and Charlestown go this afternoon in their matches. They're both on 22 points. Olympic on 19. So critical matches this afternoon across the board. Here's Josh Rose.
Great touches by Josh Rose.
Still going Rose. What a run this is. He's slowed down by Cody Lucas. Bazari. He'd step inside, but his touch was a little heavy. He'll get away with it, though. Deflects to Corley. Now Bazari. Tyler Warren got down low.
I'll tell you what, Bazari's touch initially in the centre of the park was a little bit too heavy. If McGuinness could get round Bazari, they were away. But however, Bazari made a crucial tackle in the centre of the park. And around the grounds, Maitland scored out at Maitland at Windy Hill to lead the Newcastle Jets 1-0.
So Magic leading 1-0. That goal scorer was Vigili, Luke Vigili.
Actually, we looked at the goal at half-time, didn't we, Bart? And see Magic celebrate when they score. They know how much that means to them because it's such a tight competition at the moment. It was a good strike on goal, wasn't it?
Very good strike. And if Edgeworth draw this afternoon and Magic win, then Magic will go back to the top of the table on 31 points. Have a superior for and against, but Edgeworth will still have a match in hand. So Magic still with the bye to come. And that match in Canberra as well in the FFA Cup. They play Canberra FC on the 25th of July.
And I think it's the week they've got the bye as well, so they're quite fortunate.
Perfect
the week
timing.
after they got the bye. Yeah, I think it's close to that. I know they're pretty happy with the draw.
Jacob Bailey. Now to Ryan Smith.
Great ball.
Had a topsy-turvy first half. That was a great ball in. And the free kick goes against Reece Cooper for his bump on Josh Lowe.
No, I think it was climbing on the back of Mitch Dobson then. So
trying to get up AFL style.
Yeah, great ball in, wasn't it? Very dangerous.
Really good ball in, and that's what Ryan Smith needs to do. It's what he wasn't doing enough of in the first half, I felt. Just wasn't staying wide enough. Here's a ball back from Wheeler. Puts Lowe under pressure. And his volley was... Well, he did enough with the volley to clear it away, but the danger is still present. Wheeler now
and then he sweeps up beautifully, doesn't he?
Atadi did really well. And now Atadi's got some space in front of him. May as well take it on. Tries to thread it wide, but that pass is too close to Blake Green. He was aiming for Tyson Jackson. Atadi trying to atone for the error. From the Central Coast, young Jose Atadi. Here's Bailey Garland. Sees the run of Will Bauer and cuts it back to Bazzari. Another chance goes begging.
That's well played by Edgeworth. Good little overlap. Great one too with Bailey Garland. Great ball across. And you see Don Bazzari running from 40 yards away, trying to get in the box to finish it off. Great ball in, but yeah, it was good pressure by Olympic on Bazzari when he was about to strike on goal. Just put him off a little bit. And again,
they've wasted some chances, both of these sides this afternoon.
And again, that barbecue's starting to smell nice, Bart. I forgot to go down there at half time.
You are really loving that barbecue this afternoon.
Oh,
and
great
here's
challenge.
Jackson. It was a great challenge. Can he make the most of it? Bailey Garland and Tyler Warren with a mighty save. A mighty save from the Hamilton custodian.
What a great... You know what? Well done by Tyson Jackson. Great ball across to Bailey Garland. Great strike by Bailey Garland, but Tyler Warren, give credit where credit's due. What a save. It probably was at a good height for his arm, but going back across him, what a strike and what a save.
Here's Adam Corley. And McGuinness got there first with a header. Josh Rose on the swivel. Well blocked by Tom Stewart.
They've stepped up, haven't they, Edgeworth?
Very much like the start of the first half. Here's a Tatey. Went past Ryan Smith and he returned. Smith.
And just round the grounds, Broadmeadow 1, Adamstown 1.
Oh, things just got a little bit interesting at Magic Park, and things might get interesting here if Reece Cooper was onside. He wasn't. So the opportunity goes begging.
And Chris Berlin scored out at Adamstown against his old club. He'd be loving that.
He's scored some famous goals there as well, hasn't he, Chris Berlin?
You know what? He tends to always score against his old club. He scores against Edgeworth. That's one of his old clubs. Always scores against Olympic as well. And now he's scoring against Magic. He's had a few clubs, Chris Berlin. Still fit as a fiddle at the tender age of 30, mid-30s, I'd say, 34.
He's very fit, isn't he? Now Stephen Laurie just wants this ball placed. And up to this point, Smudge, I haven't even noticed Stephen Laurie, so I think that shows you what a great job he's doing. Yep. Again, Rose. This one straight into the arms of Tyler Warren. I'm not sure whether... I'm going to check with Steve because I hope he gets the opportunity, but you would expect he would get an FFA Cup match, potentially somewhere around the place. It's a great opportunity. I've said the FFA Cup does a lot for local clubs, but it does a lot for plenty of other departments of football around Australia as well. Us in the media does a lot for referees as well. So great competition.
And talking about, I thought it was a ball over the top. And talking about yourself, but just around the grounds, Western 1, Charlestown 0.
And this is the thing, Western are great at Rockwell Automation Park, bar that result against Edgeworth. There we go again. Here's a Tatey. Strong challenge on Blake Green. Now Tyson Jackson. Well, he did well just to control there. He thought about the cross. Now Scott Pettit up the line. And Sam Maxwell had the pace just to... Well, it has stayed just inside the line, and in the end that's come off Jackson. He's unlucky there, Sam Maxwell. Now Mitch Dobson. Gee whiz, that almost took off the Warren Mills stand sign. He might be on holidays, Warren Mills. He almost had to find himself a new sign on his grandstand here at Edgeworth. That flew.
And just talking about the FFA Cup, yourself and Daniel McBrino calling the round of 32. Magic versus Canberra.
I don't know how they brought us back again, Smudge, but somehow they have. Here's Reece Cooper.
And at least you'll know one side off by heart, which is always good.
Jacob Bailey. Now Ryan Smith. Right away from Rose, and Josh Rose used all his guile and experience there to just shield Ryan Smith over towards the sideline. Yeah, that one, Broadmeadow Magic v Canberra. That's the plan at the moment. So should be a good match in the FFA Cup.
It will be cold down there, Bart. Take your little
can you give me a few of your layers, I think, Smudge, because I'll need them.
Someone was saying it was -4 there this morning.
It was -1 there for the rugby league match last night between Canberra and North Queensland.
Really, was it?
Jonathan Thurston looked like he...
And they're two extremes, aren't they? The temperatures are two extremes. North
between
Queensland.
Townsville and Canberra, he looked like he wanted to be anywhere but Canberra.
Who won, actually? Canberra?
North Queensland.
Oh,
sorry, Canberra won 38-12, Smudge. So, yeah.
That's what I mean. It's a tough place to go. And for Olympic, they're expected to beat Canberra, but...
Magic.
Sorry, Magic. Yeah, for Magic, they're expected to beat Canberra, but it's a different place to go. It's going to be freezing cold.
Totally different. Now here's another chance for Bailey Garland. This is a gilt-edged opportunity. He gets away from Tyler Warren, and Bailey Garland's good form continues this afternoon at Jack McLaughlin Oval. And this young Eagle is soaring for Edgeworth. That's 3 goals in 3 matches for him. He's had plenty of opportunities this afternoon, and he's taken that one. Tyler Warren is filthy with himself.
Bad mistake by Tyler Warren, as we know. He just made a crucial save just off Bailey Garland just earlier. What a brilliant save, but he just gifted Edgeworth a chance. It's going to make it difficult for Olympic to get back into this. He'll be kicking himself. He's had a great game, Tyler Warren, but you can't afford to gift Edgeworth any opportunities.
And that's the opening Edgeworth needed, and they've taken it. Now Ryan Smith. Well, that was probably fortuitous. They win the free kick there, Olympic, in the middle of the park, because if they didn't, Will Bauer and Josh Rose had some space down the left flank.
You can hear himself cursing himself, can't you, Tyler Warren, at the moment? He's devastated with his with a mistake.
Now Ryan Smith. Trying to play it between the lines, and it's got away from everyone. Here's a Tatey. Brought it down fairly well in the end. It falls for Bailey Garland. Across the face, Cody Lucas.
And again, Bailey Garland. He drops off the back four, about 10 yards off the back four. He's able to turn. He positions himself perfectly, and McGuinness has done well there. It's been a good battle between Don Bazzari and McGuinness in the centre of the park.
Well, this goal is probably a godsend for the match because it's been cagey, it's been tight, and this will force Olympic just to be a little more attacking and throw some caution to the wind. And they are going to do just that. Kane Treble is going to enter the play, and Stu Michalek is going to leave.
He's been quite sick, Stu Michalek. He didn't play midweek because he's been sick. He's barely trained all week. And he was one of the guys who's a bit underdone going into today's game. And he's been superb in the centre of the park for Olympic, hasn't he, Bart?
He has. And that just shows you the thoughts of Pete McGuinness after conceding. They need goals, and he throws a more defensive midfielder. Well, he brings a defensive midfielder off the park for a out-and-out striker, Kane Treble.
You know what? He's probably also eyeing off. He's got a game on Wednesday night. They've got quite a few games.
Now Tyler Warren under pressure again here. He was just waiting inside his box there, Smudge. I was surprised why he didn't just come out and clear it.
Yeah, he probably thought the ball was going to come a lot quicker at him, but... And
now he's sort of second-guessing himself, Tyler Warren, after that great save.
Brilliant save.
And now he's made a poor mistake, and he sort of seemed to be in two minds there. Here's Cooper, then Blake Green, and now Maxwell. And now Bauer. That was an important boot in. Flowing forward is Will Bauer. Lays it off to Jackson. And just sprays it, Tyson Jackson.
Good transition by Edgeworth from defence into attack. Nice and quick, nice and sharp. Will Bower with pace. Tyson Jackson with pace. The ball just bobbled as Jackson was about to have a shot, and he just skewed it off. So great opportunity for Edgeworth. I think if Edgeworth get another one, I think the game will be dead and buried. It's very important that Olympics stay in this game. They will get opportunities, and even if they can get a point out of this game, they'll be very happy with that.
Josh Rose with the throw, and Smudge, time is standing still here at Edgeworth. Time is standing still. The scoreboard clock is stuck at 15 minutes. Are we in a parallel universe or?
Great ball.
Here's Kane Treble now. Scored the winner against Western a few weeks ago. That was back in round 11 for Hamilton Olympic. That would have given him tons of confidence. See if he can come up with something similar here. They really need one. Here's a Tatey.
Tatey's got a lot better as the game's gone on, hasn't he? He's got built with more confidence. He's given some good touches on the ball. First few minutes he had a bit of turnover.
That's a great turn from Tyson Jackson. It releases Sam Maxwell. Cuts in on his left. And it falls for Tom Stewart. A Tatey was just nipping at his heels there. He almost nicked possession back. And now Jake McGuinness quickly on the counter-attack for Hamilton Olympic. This match has really opened up. Just seemed to get caught under his boot there. And now Edgeworth have a chance. Is Maxwell going to slow it down here? Just for a moment. It's been helter-skelter for the last few minutes. Bazari. He looks up.
Great ball.
Straight onto the right boot of Bailey Garland. Brought it down expertly. Now the touch on. A Tatey. What about the touch over the top to Josh Rose, who's just offside? What about that control from the youngster?
He did very well, didn't he? I'll tell you what, Bailey Garland's very comfortable on the ball, isn't he? He's got beautiful touches, and he's got a little bit of pace over 5 yards. It's quite deceiving. So, good young boy.
And Smudge, I hope you enjoy this analogy, but Damien Zane just seems to blood youngsters at the perfect time. It's just like a chef, you know, cooking chicken just perfectly, cooking meat just perfectly. He seems to do it every time with these youngsters. Bailey Garland, just absolutely superb since he's come into this starting side for Edgeworth the last few weeks. Looks as though he has been there for years.
Yeah, new lease of life for him, isn't it? But he's scoring goals as well, so his confidence is up. Just here, Olympics just looking a little bit tired for me. I just noticed when they lost the ball just a few seconds ago.
This is going to test them mentally. They're tired from Wednesday night, a gritty, tough, battering affair against Charlestown. Now they're down 1-0 at Edgeworth.
And they'll force him to make an early sub with Reece Pappas hurting his knee. So the key for Olympics is they stay in the game as long as they can. They will get opportunities. But it's starting to open up now for Edgeworth.
Well, this ground, Jack McLaughlin Oval, it's been a fortress for Edgeworth this season. They've lost just once in 7 matches.
Oh, it's been a fortress for years, hasn't it, Bart? Well, I remember when I was coaching Magic at the time, and if you came away with 3 points, you were extremely happy.
If you came away with a point, you're probably happy as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, depending.
Although you probably had higher expectations of your squad, Smudge. You wanted 3 points every week. Here's Josh Lowe.
For me, Cody Lucas slotted in for Reece Pappas has done a fabulous job next to Tommy Stewart. They've been rock solid at the back there. They just need to be a bit careful with Bailey Garland dropping deep. Actually, Will Bowers sort of moved up into central. They've moved Bailey Garland out wide. Zane just tinkering with his front three a little bit here. Very smart coach. He's always looking to find the advantage. So Garland was central, then they moved him out to the right-hand side, then he went back to central, moved Bauer back into the central now, moved Garland out on the left-hand side. He's limping a little bit here at the moment.
I wonder how many NPL clubs, we talk about NPL Victoria probably being the pinnacle of NPL competitions in Australia. Sydney is good, but NPL Victoria is the top. We've seen that in the FFA Cup. No NPL Sydney side has beaten or NPL New South Wales, I should say, side has beaten an NPL Victorian side. I just wonder, Smudge, do you see one of those NPL Victoria sides seeing what Damien Zane has done at Edgeworth and saying, we want a bit of that down in Victoria, and then offering him a contract? Because if they win the premiership again this year, that's 4 years that Zane has been here at Edgeworth and 4 premierships.
Which is very impressive. And to me, I was talking to him before the game, and to me, I think this year's been his best year of coaching. The way he's blooded the young ones, the ways he's used experience in McBreen and a few of the other guys, the older guys, he brings them in, brings them out.
Stephen, the sun's in your eyes.
Even the crowd's starting to get a bit vocal.
It's Tom Davies cantering away. Now to Ryan Smith. A reminder, this broadcast this afternoon brought to you by Intent Recruitment. Make sure you head to them for all your recruitment needs. They have been sponsoring the Bar TV match of the round in the NPL Northern New South Wales throughout the season. So great to have them on board this year, supporting local football. Reece Cooper, a little bit too close to Josh Lowe, who was able to smother it and then control it on the bounce.
Do they recruit physiotherapists at all, Bart? Do you know? We're looking for a few physios at our work at the moment.
Or maybe you could get in contact with them. Look up Intent Recruitment on your favourite search engine, Smudge.
Yep.
Jackson.
Ooh,
that is a great ball from top. Well, Wilbauer's just offside. That surprised me. Now, scores around the grounds. Magic and Adamstown 1-1. Maitland 1-0 over the Jets Youth. And Western still 1-0 over Charlestown.
Right,
and Dom Bazari with a pirouette.
He's been good today.
He's brought Disney on Ice to Jack McLaughlin Oval, Smudge.
Yeah, my daughter was at Disney on Ice today, actually, and
get
up
Dom
with
Bazari.
Anna. She was loving it, but Dom Bazari, yeah.
Get him out there on the ice. What character do you think he could be?
Goofy, maybe? I don't know.
It's Mitch Thompson. It's a little bit of a juxtaposition, isn't it? After what he just did there. Is Tom Stewart now being afforded some room. Pettit. Can Scott Pettit pull something out of
Well played by
his
Hamilton.
hat? Now Davies. That one may come down with some snow on it. Josh Lowe takes it nicely. Tyson Jackson. Scored a couple of weeks ago in the Jets. Against his former club in that 5-1 win for Edgeworth. And it will be Will Bauer who will make way now for Edgeworth. They're going to make it their substitution now. First of the match.
This is a smart move by Zane. He's bringing in Aaron McLaughlin on for Will Bauer, who's more defensively minded. For Zane, it's all about the result today. If they get the result today, they're going to be very hard to peg back for the premiership, especially the way, at the moment, Broadmeadow's locked at 1-1 with Adamstown.
And their final 3 matches, Edgeworth, are against sides close to the bottom of the ladder. So, a win here, and they go to 33 points. And if you look at their final 3, they should, based on form, win those last 3. And 42 points, Smudge, we've sort of done the maths. We think 42 points will be enough for Edgeworth to claim another premiership.
Do you know what? If Magic lose today, or draw today against Adamstown, even less maybe. They only go to 41.
Yeah, Lambton can only get to 42 points this season. And Magic, if they draw this afternoon, can only get to 41. So Edgeworth could be home and hosed before even the final couple of rounds. That would just be incredible for them. Again, here's Davies. We've got another goal in. Maitland lead 2-0 against the Jets. So they seem to be doing the job as required, Maitland.
And if Maitland get a result up against the Jets, that's a massive result, especially at the moment with Western beating Charlestown 1-0.
They need that result.
And obviously, Olympic losing today, not losing today, like losing 1-0 at the moment.
Scott Pettit. Rounded Maxwell, and then Blake Green took on his opposite number and easily accounted for Tyson Jackson. Is this the opening that Hamilton desired? Josh Lowe flapped it away just as McGuinness then was probing. Ryan Smith. Bailey Garland with the goal for Edgeworth if you have just joined us. And not one of Tyler Warren's best moments in the build-up.
Just with the change for Suey Mashalik for treble coming on, McGuinness has pushed him at the number 9 and they've moved Reece Cooper back in the number 10. Oh, it's a great ball across.
Pettit almost got there.
Great opportunity.
And now Jackson threads the needle for Adam Corley. But Blake Green, that was critical that he got a little toe in. Pettit.
It's just starting to open up, isn't it, for Hamilton at the moment?
It really is. And now Kane treble. That one straight onto the right boot of Mitch Dobson, and he swept it clear. But Edgeworth are pinned back now inside their own defensive third. It's backs to the wall for the Eagles now.
Pettit's got space here.
And now Pettit's going to give away the free kick. That was poor from Scott Pettit.
Well defended.
A rugby tackle, really, in the end.
Yeah, it was well defended by Sam Maxwell.
So Damien Zane will be encouraging his side here just to push up a little more, because they are sitting back, inviting pressure and inviting Hamilton Olympic to find an equaliser. I think the most disappointing thing for Hamilton is that they've had that injury to Reece Pappas early on, and then they've had to bring Cody Lucas into the centre with Tom Stewart, both of whom haven't played together at all, well, not very often, if at all. And in the end, they've been definitely not at NPL level, and they've been really strong, those two. And in the end, they concede from an error at the back.
Yeah, that's right.
A goalkeeping error. So that's the most disappointing thing for Hamilton Olympic at this point. They've adapted well defensively.
But when you play against top sides, you can't afford to do those errors.
Now Josh Rose slips over. Tom Stewart was awake and almost cleaned up Stephen Laurie with the clearance. McGuinness.
We've still got about 25 minutes, Bart, so a lot can happen.
Less than 20. Less than 20 minutes. I know the scoreboard has stopped ticking.
Oh, yeah. Plus injury.
Plus injury time, yeah. So another intriguing afternoon of NPL Northern New South Wales action, as always. Yesterday, of course, Lambton accounted for Valentine, 3-0 there. Here's a Tatey, the youngster on debut, or on starting debut for Edgeworth. Here's Adam Corley. He's been great of late. 4 goals in his last 4 matches. He's trying to turn provider. Now Josh Rose.
Tell you what, Bart, you couldn't pick a better afternoon. The weather is absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
And it might be a bit cool, but that's perfect for the players on the pitch. Now Tyson Jackson, away from Green, back to Garland, a Tatey. What a way to mark his debut that would have been. And Corley and Tyler Warren, he bobbled it.
Just on a Tatey, Cody Lucas's challenge on a Tatey was absolutely top-notch. That was a great challenge on a Tatey. He had a chance on goal there. Good opportunity for Edgeworth. I think if Edgeworth get a second goal, I can't see Olympic coming back.
He scored 1 goal in the under-20s competition this year, Jose Tatey. So born in the Central Coast, spent some time with Edgeworth in the 14s and then the emerging Jets, and then back to Edgeworth. So Bailey Garland, he scored this afternoon. He's done his job. And it'll be Daniel McBreen who will come onto the park to replace the youngster. So one of the brightest young talents in the NPL Northern New South Wales is replaced by the veteran. The veteran, Daniel McBreen. Is the rule we're not allowed to mention his age?
No, definitely not.
Mitch Dobson gets up. He is over 40, I'll say that. He's so fit, isn't he, Daniel McBreen?
Always has been.
He's McGuinness. There's actually a bloke playing for Hellenic in the FFA Cup. He plays in Darwin, and he is 47.
Wow.
And Daniel McBrain's been inspired by him, I think. Said if he can play to 47, I can as well.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if Daniel McBreen plays on next year.
As long as you stay injury-free, it's when you get a few injuries, that's when it gets difficult. And Daniel McBreen, he has had a couple of injury hiccups this year, but apart from maybe a couple of weeks on the sidelines, he's been good. He's been sick.
Yeah, but also he's had other commitments as well, obviously with Fox Sports, coaching the Jets as well. Oh, play on.
So can McBreen grab one this afternoon?
Yeah.
Came off the bench against Olympic in round 6, scored twice. Can he come back to haunt them again?
It's good to see him out there, but...
Matady now to McLaughlin. Looks up and sees Daniel McBreen, who's going to cause some headaches for Tom Stewart and Cody Lucas. He's a bit taller than Bailey Garland, so...
But what McBreen also brings, that experience to grind out a result. If Zane walks away here 1-0, he'll be extremely happy. And Western Bears 2, Charlestown 0.
Well, things just got a whole lot more difficult for Charlestown.
I'll tell you what, Michael Bolcher, mate, will be a big smile on his face, especially if they can get a result. That just gives them a slight little buffer with the game in hand.
And that match between Hamilton and Maitland next week is huge, really. Now the strike across the face of goal as he slipped over Kane Treble. Didn't get the power behind it he would have liked. Yeah, next week, if Hamilton lose to Maitland next Sunday, their finals hopes will be extinguished. Then and there, you sense. A draw keeps it on a nice edge.
Hamilton, they've played some really good football this year. It's just like they're just not getting that end result. And they've had some key injuries at wrong parts of the year, like today. They've got 5 players out today.
And it's consistency as well.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
Said they've had good results and they've lost. And then another couple of good results and then they've
But they've
gone down again.
played very well in patches, then they give away a soft goal. Happened today as well.
Here is Zatadi. A bit behind it, but not the accuracy you would have desired. Exactly, I think today's a decent summary of where they're at the moment, Olympic. Played some good football. Scott Pettit probably should have scored before half-time. And in the end, it comes down to those little moments, those big moments, I should say.
Costly error, yeah.
Those big moments.
But in saying that, Tyler Warren just prior to that saved a dead set goal with Bailey Garland. Strike on goal. That was a great save.
McLaughlin just keeps that one inside the line. He sees the run of Daniel McBreen, who's just waiting back there, and it will be a corner for Edgeworth.
Yeah, he was smart, McBreen. He could have ran straight into the box, but he decided to just hang back, waiting for the cutback. If he did get the cutback, he was free.
And McBreen and Tom Stewart getting up nice and close there. Stewart not letting him out of his sight. And Daniel McBreen, he's arriving in there, trying to put the pressure on Warren. McLaughlin was there too.
I was going to say Tom Stewart will be relishing the chance to play against Daniel McBreen as well. A-League champion, A-League Golden Boot.
Yeah, won that A-League campaign with Josh Rose, who's his Edgeworth teammate now, in 2013 against Western Sydney. Scored that grand final goal from the penalty spot, Daniel McBreen.
And can you believe it? Western 3, Charlestown 0.
Gee, start the celebration, Western fans. Now there is a handball against Tom Stewart. McBreen, I think, asking the question, is that a yellow card? Because if the ball was played through there,
They're on.
They're on.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a decent argument there, Daniel McBrain, for the yellow card. We haven't seen any cards this afternoon.
Which is good. Hasn't been a dirty game.
Crowd's getting a bit restless, I think, Smudge.
Stephen Laurie is saluting. Should have a hat on. He's got no hat.
Here's Bazzari. McBrain across the face. McLaughlin with a tap in, but McBrain was offside. But it was well worked again, wasn't
Well worked, yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, no one tracked Aaron McLaughlin running through the centre of the park. Everyone was sort of ball watching a little bit then. McBrain peeled out the back seat. Unfortunately, he was offside.
Well, it was the two wily veterans getting on the end of that. McLaughlin and McBrain. Two most experienced players out there for Edgeworth.
I wouldn't use the word veterans when you talk about McBrain.
Veteran is a compliment, Smudge.
Experience, you can.
Here he is. Daniel McBrain. Again, I think he spotted Tyler Warren just off his line. He may have scuffed that. And now it falls for Tyson Jackson.
Yeah, I agree. He looked up, didn't he? Yeah, he looked up, seen Tyler Warren off his line, trying to ping him.
He'll probably say now he was looking for Tyson Jackson after that transpired. Here's a Tatey. Now Ryan Smith. Chips the ball towards Kane Treble. So he'll look towards his bench again, Pete McGuinness. He's got the one substitution left. Will he bring on Bailey Blummel, the youngster who scored a hat-trick in the 18s grand final last year? It'd be exciting to see him make his debut this afternoon. Tom Stewart along the tarmac. Well, that's straight to Mitch Dobson. Maxwell. And that touch a little too heavy because Reece Cooper, his pace was too much for Maxwell in the end. Pettit.
Tommy Stewart! Tommy Stewart!
Maxie, we've got a couple, so just be aware.
No, Davies looking up the line.
They're playing this very smart, Edgeworth. They're just sort of winding the clock down. Their defensive structure's right in. You see Tyson Jackson drop. They drop players back, clogging the space. Very hard for Olympic to play through. They're just forcing them wide, forcing the turnover like they did before.
They're grinding Olympic into the dust,
they're just grinding this down. They do it. They're the best team that do it.
And there's
when
no...
they get ahead, yeah.
Just quietly, there's no dust out there. The pitch looks immaculate.
Yeah.
Tyson Jackson. It's on the outside of Green. Is he taking a little too far? No, he hasn't. Adam Corley. Well, he got all muddled up on the shot.
Yeah, it wasn't on his favoured foot, was he? But
surprising because he's been in such good goal-scoring touch. Adam Corley.
He had a good opportunity. He was free.
2 goals last week against Western.
Go and grab a hat, Stephen.
So Tom Stewart leaving the park, and Joe Templey's been thrust out there. So they're going to throw at the back here, Olympic, it seems.
To be honest, McGuinness has probably seen the results from the other games, and McGuinness electing to go with 3 at the back for the final 5 or so minutes, and another poor
clearance again. That one straight to Adam Corley. And now McBrain. That's it, run on to McLaughlin. Now Tyson Jackson. He saw McBrain there just waiting beyond the back post.
And Adam Corley free on the penalty spot. I said at the start of the game, Bart, if Edgeworth get a result over Olympic today, I can't see anyone pegging Edgeworth back for the premiership. They won't drop 2 games in the last 4, and at the moment, Broadmeadow could drop points here at Adamstown or against Adamstown.
Well, it's not long left now. Josh Rose gives McBrain some chasing to do. Now a Tatey towards that man, Josh Rose again. Nodded on by Cody Lucas. Josh Rose just steps on the ball, a bit of a stumble towards the touchline. Yeah, Josh Rose, big match for him this afternoon in the women in football round. His mum It was a single mum with 5 kids, and he's got some wonderful praise for her. I read it on the Mariners website.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Said that she did everything to give her kids what they wanted in life, and that's huge. So, really important week for him as well for this particular round, the women in football round, as Reece Cooper.
That's where you like seeing Reece Cooper facing forward.
This is a great run and a decent strike, but Josh Lowe just watching that one crash into the advertising signs behind the goal.
Yeah, McGuinness had Reece Cooper at the number 9 in the first half. He's brought him back into the number 10 in the second half, and that's where I find he does his better work there. Facing forward, he's able to turn and attack players, and that's where he's very dangerous, as we've seen just then.
So Hamilton Olympic could be heading towards their first match this season where they have been unable to trouble the scorers. Tyson Jackson, can he seal it here for Edgeworth? With Daniel McBreen alongside him in the middle, he gets cut down. There's the free kick for Edgeworth. Still no card from Stephen Laurie. I thought there could have been one there, Smudge. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's been he hasn't been popping out the cards today, has he, Stephen Laurie? But you know what? It was a foul, but there were 2 players there. Ultimately, Edgeworth's in a great position here. They're winding down the clock. They won't be too disappointed, I think.
Here is Adam Corley, Bizarre off the back of his head. There's only one option for Olympic. They've got to go long here towards Joe Temperley. In the final frantic minutes, they really need a point. They've only had the one draw this year, Olympic. It's been either 3 points or no points for them the majority of the season. Davies. Right under it. It's a good ball. In towards treble. Appeals for a handball. Tell you what, I think Edgeworth will be pleased there's no VAR in play, because could have been a handball there in the box. Now Adam Corley has the inside run of Aaron McLaughlin. Looks up, and Warren, there was a bit of a miscommunication between himself and Blake Green. Now Ryan Smith curls one up the line, and Atadi will track that one down. Wheeler just knocks it forward. Jackson wasn't quite sure where the ball was about to land.
You know what, it's great to see Zane having faith in Atadi. He's given him a full game today. Well, there's a few minutes to go, but he's done well. Started off a little bit slow, but he's done really well. He's really worked himself into the game. Had some really good touches. Looked dangerous, finding the pockets.
Was this the chance for Olympic now? Reece Cooper. Can Ryan Smith find the right ball? He looks for Kane treble, but Dobson rose highest in the box.
He's a good player, Dobson. He's going to be missed by Edgeworth. In saying that, they've got Josh Evans to come in, who's just an absolute quality player.
His final match this afternoon for Edgeworth before he heads to Monroe College in the US. Cameron Joyce also there. He's former Jets youth and Joey's teammate. Here's Smith in again. The flick on is on the roof of the net from Joe Temperley. It will bring the corner though. We're heading towards stoppage time. Here's the corner from treble. Jacob Bailey!
What a save!
What a save from Josh Lowe. Surely you sense lightning couldn't strike twice, and the round of applause from Edgeworth just made it clear how much they thought of that save from Josh Lowe. 3 clean sheets already this season. He's looking for his fourth, and he may well have earned one right then and there, and it was Jacob Bailey again from the corner, who almost scored again late against Edgeworth to break their hearts.
Mate, I'm telling you, that is a premiership winning save.
Well, maybe it might be, because here's Scott Pettit again. Away from Maxwell, turning him inside and out. It took the deflection off the boot of Maxwell, and now McGuinness's shot is not goal bound. He's frustrated, and Lowell just tick some more seconds off this clock.
I'll tell you what, that was a tremendous save. And if it stays Broadmeadow 1, Adamstown 1, and Edgeworth get the result here.
Tyler Warren just launches it. Dobson is back. I felt a handball off Templey there. Not spotted by Stephen Laurie, and now Reece Cooper. He's collected that ball very deep, Reece Cooper. Look how deep he's coming to collect possession. Now he just tries to dink it over the top. And this one being played straight to him. Well, here's a chance for Olympic. Kane treble. It's very central, and Cooper's touch was too heavy. Ryan Smith had space out to the right edge, but they went very narrow and very central.
Yeah, Jackson didn't need to play the pass there. He could have just run into the corner.
As the final seconds tick down, Jacob Bailey thought he may have snatched a point just moments ago, but it was Josh Lowe with a Superman save down low to his right. Now Blake Green. Last chance saloon time here for Hamilton Olympic now as Kane treble. And that will do. And it's 3 straight for the Eagles as they consolidate top spot on the ladder. And they are a step closer to a 4th straight premiership with that win this afternoon. And that is their first win over Hamilton Olympic here at Jack McLaughlin Oval since 2015. It's been a fair chunk of time between victories over Olympic for the Eagles here at home. And for Hamilton, they've now lost 2 of their last 3. And their finals hopes take a significant blow. And it was that one mistake at the back from Tyler Warren. Played it straight to Bailey Garland. And Edgeworth take all 3 points. Full time here at Jack McLaughlin Oval. Edgeworth Eagles 1, Hamilton Olympic 0. Can we just switch the cameras down here to Daniel McBrain? Now this shows the class of the man. This is a shattered goalkeeper, Tyler Warren, and Daniel McBrain has gone all the way down the other end of the ground to shake hands with him. He's absolutely shattered, Tyler Warren. He'll feel like it was his error which cost his side 3 points this afternoon. And when you play as a team, it's down to the 11 players. But that shows you the mark of Daniel McBrain, doesn't it, Smudge?
Yeah, totally agree. But you know what? Hamilton were good today. Edgeworth slightly better, but the error, you can't afford to do errors against Edgeworth. But McBrain going up to Tyler Warren at the end of the game, that is absolute classy, isn't it? That's experienced and classy. He knows he's hurting. He knows how desperate Olympic needed that result today. Even a draw would have been good. Even a point would have been good. But yeah, you feel for Tyler Warren. It was very good, except for that one costly error to Bailey Garland, which he finished off really well.
And in matches between these sides, that can be the difference in the end.
Oh, totally. But the thing is, when you play your top 4 sides, you can't afford to make crucial errors, which result in goals. And that was a crucial error. But you know what? McGuinness will pick his troops back up. They got a game against Valentine on Wednesday. They get the 3 points. They jump up. They're still in the mix. But next weekend, Hamilton versus Maitland is so crucial for both sides. If Maitland get a result, I cannot see... I can see Maitland squeezing in.
So we're just having a look at those other scores this afternoon, and as it stands, it is 1-1 between Broadmeadow and Adamstown. That one in stoppage time currently. Lambton 3-0 over Valentine yesterday. Edgeworth 1-0 here this afternoon. Maitland 2-0 over the Jets, and Western 3-0 over Charlestown. And if everything stays the same, let's just have a look at the standings currently. So Edgeworth at the top on 33 points. Lambton second on 30. Broadmeadow on 29 points. With Edgeworth an opportunity. They could go 7 points clear of Magic.
Yeah, that's right. I think Edgeworth...
Lambton are really the only side that could win the premiership from Edgeworth at this point, you would argue.
So with 5 games to go, Edgeworth need to drop 2 games, and I think they've got a pretty favourable run home. I cannot see it. I think the result today, I spoke to Zane before the game, he knew how important today's result was. I thought if they win today, even if a Magic won today, I think they're going to be hard to pull back. But if Magic draw today against Adamstown, which is still 1-1, and obviously it's in injury time, I think the race is nearly over.
And let's talk about Hamilton Olympic. They win on Wednesday night against Valentine, which they should. They should win. They go to 22 points, and all of a sudden that game against Maitland is massive, because if they win, they go level on 25 points with Maitland. They get beaten, and you would probably argue that their finals hopes are gone.
Agree, because after that there's only 3 games to go. So, you know what? Today's game was a very semi-final football. It was very cagey initially. Neither side wanted to lose, but that costly error resulted in a goal. And like I said, once Edgeworth get in front, they're hard to peg back. And full credit to Damien Zane. Give the young boy a go. Jose Atadi. And, I thought, congratulations, Edgeworth.
All right, well, that will do us for this afternoon, Smudge. Thanks for being alongside me this afternoon. And CT will be back next week at Darling Street for that huge match, as we mentioned, between Hamilton and Maitland. And we'll be back on Thursday night for the midweek show as well. So full-time 1-1, it was Magic and Adamstown. So there you go, a point each. Again, Adamstown, a great result for them. All right, full-time here at Jack McLaughlin Oval. Great to have your company. Once again, Edgeworth Eagles finishing 1-0 winners over Hamilton Olympic.